So 30 years in the mortgage industry has taught me that complicated does not mean impossible. So impossible would be, a situation like maybe you are not self-employed for 2 full years and we can't use your tax returns. But that in itself is still not impossible, because if you have money to put down, we can do bank statement loans and things like that. So impossible is something that does not fit a guideline, that absolutely cannot go anywhere, or something to that effect. Complicated is just that. Complicated makes that puzzle that we're putting together a little more complicated. So in thinking about that and putting that together and thinking about the job situation, things like that, when you have worked a bunch of different jobs, maybe you've worked continuously for 2 full years, but you've worked at 5 different places. A lot of times for FHA, in fact, it doesn't matter as long as you have been continuously employed. Conventional is a little bit more. They want to know that you have been in the same line of work and you've changed for certain reasons, as far as maybe, more income or things like that. So again, that's just a piece of the puzzle that we're going to put together for that. One of the things that buyers assume is that one problem or one complication comes up and the whole conversation is over. That is not the case. Just because you have one issue on one particular thing does not mean that the whole conversation is over and the rest of the puzzle doesn't fit together, because there could be pluses to your loan. You could have a lot of money to put down. This could be another house, a second house that you've bought, so you have, existing, you've bought houses in the past, you have experience with owning homes. So again, just because it's one issue does not mean it's the end of the conversation. Different situations require different loans. And again, like I talked about a little bit ago, just because maybe you're not self-employed for 2 full years for one particular loan does not mean you're not going to get approved for another type of a loan. So we should always look at your whole picture. You as the borrower should always disclose everything. Disclose your whole financial picture so that we can then put it together. And I know I say this a lot, but put that puzzle together and put you with the best program that's going to work for your current situation. What happened in the past, maybe you got a regular loan 2 years ago, but your situation may not be the same. And again, in 2 years, your situation may be different. So what we're going to do is put something together for the current situation, and then put you on a path of how to get you into maybe a different loan, maybe get some of your equity back if you had to put a lot of money down or something to that effect. Always start the conversation early. Let's get going, let's talk about it, and you should never ever be embarrassed about any situation, because believe it or not, you're not the only one who's had that situation. A lot of people feel like they're on that desert island all by themselves and they're isolated, and that anything that has happened to them or the situation they're currently in, nobody else has it. And surprisingly enough, a lot of people do. There are very few, the truth of the matter is there are less people that are perfect borrowers than there are people that have issues. And again, we call those, pieces to that puzzle. So again, hard and complicated is not impossible. So let me leave you with this. You may not have the perfect situation, and you may not need the perfect situation. What you need is the perfect person, the perfect loan officer, to put your position or your situation together to make it perfect for the loan that you're going to qualify for. So whenever you're ready, you give me a call. Dawn Hall, Van Dyke Mortgage, 239-789-7561, your lender for life.